Good morning, it's Jonathan Barrett with the Morning Debrief and Week Ahead report. The current time is 8:02 and it's Saturday the 19th of November. Okay, last night still a lot of volatility out there's no doubt about it. We did manage to etch out a small gain for the Dow. The S&P and Nasdaq were down. Obviously there's still a lot of concerns over what's happening in Europe, but on a brighter note, we're seeing some more positive data coming out of the States. Leading indicators last night came in at 0.9% higher than the forecast of only up 0.05%. So when you look at it, just 0.5%, sorry, not 0.05. So when you look at it from that perspective, I think things are looking quite encouraging out of the States, and there'll be a lot of tussle, I guess, between whether or not we should be buying US equities, whether they're cheap, or whether they'll suffer some form of fallout if the contagion in Europe continues to spread. We are hearing good things, though, from Monty, and the idea there is to see whether or not he can actually get through a lot of his reforms. But he's certainly the one there that seems to have the hatchet, and is the one that can perhaps make a difference. Okay, let's run through a few things. The Dow up small, up 0.23%, and S&P was down on some of the news. Big swings, we know that's there. Leading indicators, we saw that was pretty good too, so quite good. US economy growing at the fastest pace since 2011, so that's not too bad at all. I think the chances of the US going into recession become more remote the more we get this positive data coming through. Looking at other stuff, I guess of any note, one of the concerns that everyone has is obviously the unemployment. That seems to be very stagnant. They've got to get that happening, but so far that is not. Let's see if we get that fiscal stimulus package from Obama. Okay, Bill Gross says Europe is top risk to the US economy. Okay, well, we know that. Thanks, Bill. Everything else, Papandreou wins cabinet approval for calling 5.4% deficit. Okay, that's all right. Euro rescue plan falling short, renews Franco-German debate over role of ECB. Bit of a problem there, and that's what we think is going to have a major concern. Crude declines. There we go. A little bit of issues there, but I think that's more to do with Europe at the moment. Let's see what happens with Iran in order to see what happens in terms of getting that market either coming under pressure or continue to trade higher. 102 is the resistance that we mentioned this week in the bulletin, and that seems to have stopped the market quite nicely. Okay, let's look around the world as to what's happening. Dow, we've mentioned there, a bit of a mixed night. Top 50 in Europe still under pressure. Top was down 7, the FTSE was down 62, the CAC was down 16, and the DAX was down 42, so a little bit negative there on that front. Looking at the local market, that was the future, sorry. Local market, we were up 3 at 4,184, so relatively steady on that front. Looking at commodities now, and it's been quite a mixed picture for commodities, I'm afraid. Crude are still under pressure there. After that high of 102 we mentioned on West Texas, so it can still expect some issues. Looking at the agricultural markets, and big movements down for cocoa. Corn was off as well. Cotton was off as well. That's a bigger move for cotton than we would have anticipated. In fact, down 3.21%. 3.31%, down to 93.27. That does give me a little bit of concern. Remember, with that trade, we're only ever looking to buy the break on the top side. So that's been the strategy for a while, because we still feel the low is trying to form. OJ, a bit of a movement there. Wheat, not much to think of there, and soybean relatively steady there at 11.68. Industrial metals, copper was up just a fraction, 342.5, and gold up $5 at 17.25. So relatively stable there. Okay, let's have a look at a few of the markets, and then we'll have a look at what's coming out for the week. So we'll try and summarise what sort of week we'll actually have. There's the Dow I've put up there, so you can have a look there. Good support. We take out that low there, which is around about that 11,600. That does represent a bit of a worry for me, okay? That in itself suggests a breakthrough there. She can come down back into this area here, which is around 11,400. If it holds its range in, it actually would look quite positive, okay? And that trend, top trend here, we're looking following quite nicely. Okay, let's have a look at the dollar index, which is obviously one of our key barometers. 78.23, that was off just a fraction. As you can see, it is at the top end of the range, and it is at the top end of the range if we can see it. Okay, looks like just spent a little bit of time there, so let's, if we don't get anything joy out of that in a second, I'll move to something else. Okay, a little bit slow on that front. Okay, let's just wait for that to occur. Oh, there's the gold market anyway. Gold's up a little bit. Momentum indicators remain pretty bearish. If it continues to take out the lows, 1700 I think is the key, then 1680, and she can come down a little bit lower. Looking at this move here, this does look like a corrective move, so that can precipitate a move quite substantially lower, but let's see and just wait and see. These sorts of things, if the trend develops, then you can sell the break to new lows. You'll be able to see that on the hourly here. I'll just get it for you. There's that hourly there. As you can see, a lot of moving and shaking. That's the low there. If it breaks through, then you can add to positions. That's 1710. Okay. Righty-ho. Dollar index we've mentioned. Let's have a quick look at the local market, 41.84. We've always been relatively optimistic for a Christmas rally here, so we'll have to see how that does unfold. Just a little bit slow too at the moment. That's the hourly chart there. They're the lows down here, which we can see. And in my mind, it sort of does look as if, you know, look, let's see what happens. But good support down there, around that 4100, and hopefully that will hold. Okay, let's run through the economic calendar for next week. That's probably the key for us, and give us an idea of what sort of Tier 1 data we're going to actually have, you know, next week, which is something we can focus on. Credit card spending in New Zealand, and leading indicators in the state, in Japan. Existing home sales, obviously probably the most important one there in America for Monday the 21st. Tuesday the 22nd, GDP annualised and core, which is going to be pretty important. Market, although is expecting a little bit of downbeat, I actually think it would be a little bit higher, so I'm a little bit more optimistic about those numbers. Okay, construction work done in Australia on Wednesday, then working away, you've got some PMI data in Europe. Durable goods orders, personal spending, they're going to be the key Tier 1 data so far in America, and also minutes from the FOMC meeting. That'll be interesting to see what the FOMC meeting does concerning interest rates, because remember, we are getting into that election year, so there will be focus, and I think that focus will be towards stimulating the economy in terms of jobs growth. The Fed might not do anything, but Barack Obama will probably have to do something. Anyway, let's see. A bit of data out in Germany, GDP in Great Britain, that's probably about it. And as we head into Friday, not much there. So I guess if anything there, the key bits of data for that week will be the GDP Wednesday and FOMC meeting minutes. That to me will be the ones which we'll be focused on to see what sort of lift we actually get. So I think if anything there, just more a wait and see. There's the numbers there, and I would like to see some positive stuff. Okay, look, that's pretty much it from the week ahead report. Really, I guess we've got that small short gold position, and I'm quite happy with that at the moment. That's short at 1768. And wheat, we reduced pretty much most of our positions, so we've only got a very small position there. And cotton, we're just sidelined at the moment. Aussie, we're small short as well. But that's about it from me. I hope everyone has a good week. Happy trading, and we'll talk to you later. No, excuse me. Bye for now.